Hello, my name is Joel Flores. Welcome to When the Smoke Clears. I appreciate everybody tuning in to my podcast. I always like to get my podcast started out with a moment of silence for the addict who still suffers, and followed by the Serenity Prayer. So, if you will, moment of silence. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Um, Alrighty, welcome. Well, I am here today to talk about just to spread the message about not giving up and, in a sense, as they say in the meetings of A and NA, don't leave until the miracle happens. And what that means to me personally is that to if you're in recovery and if you're just a new person in recovery to stay the course. Don't let things discourage you because it's very, very, very easy to get discouraged in the world of addiction and to you know just to give you an example, I had a situation this morning when I rode the bus and I was going to an appointment that I had. It's everyday life things, and I get on the bus and this bus driver is just, totally rude and just gave me um, this attitude like, I was in the way. I was, I was making her job difficult, and the way she approached me and the way she spoke to me was it was degrading in a sense. It felt humiliating a little bit. I hadn't felt like that since it's been a while. Like that I felt like this person really didn't give a crap about me. And I'm not expecting her to, but if you're in, you expect people to be good people, right? So, I one of the things that I preach to my kids all the time was to treat people how you want to be treated, and my point here is that it doesn't matter what part of your life you're dealing with. What that made me do was that it triggered a memory that I had when I was in full-blown addiction, when I had walked into a convenience store to buy a bottle of water, and in that instant, the clerk um, really looked at me like if I was just not allowed in that store. Like, what are you doing here? You're a homeless person. You look like I'm just thinking out loud of what I thought the person thought because of the way their reaction was towards me, especially when I was like 4 or 5 cents short on this bottle of water. That this person didn't even, you know, they didn't sell me the bottle of water because I was 4 cents short, and I and then he asked me to leave the store, and I felt I didn't feel good about that. I mean, it made me feel sad. It made me feel like, how could somebody be this ugly to somebody because they weren't asking me to leave in a nice way. And instead of me reacting like I normally would have, I was so deep in the addiction and in depression because, I'm out on the street and I got nowhere to go. It was hot as hell and I really wanted a drink of water and I didn't have enough money to get it. And so the feeling that I got on that bus ride this morning it was like a trigger because it made me think of how I felt that day at the store. And the repercussions of the things that happened at that store for me was that I immediately took off from the store and kept on going to where I was going, my destination. And when I got over there, the first thing I did was immediately, when I got there, I'm going to the plug's house, right? And they're like, here. So I remedied that feeling with doing, with smoking and doing what I wanted to do as far as addiction goes and what I was involved in at that time. And so when that bus driver talked to me like that and body language was just real negative towards me, it brought me back to that point how I felt in that store. And it triggered me to start thinking, no, like I wanted to go use. And, but, through the grace of God, I'm glad that I was able to recognize that red flag, even though I rode that bus ride for a good 20 minutes, and the whole time, I'm just thinking, my mind's just rotating, and thinking like, wow, like I just started thinking about the day at that store and what I went to go do, and I'm thankful that I was able to recognize the red flag and the trigger, that it didn't put me, I was able to bring myself out of that, and I was able to recognize it, and I was able to put other things in my mind and not weigh myself down into that depressed mode and into that mode to where I wanted to go use like I did that day at the store. So it was recognizable, and I was happy that I was able to recognize it, and I thought about it all day today, of that it made me start. It made me more aware of my day and what I was doing and what to do so that I wouldn't, I navigated my mind to do other things, and I physically went somewhere else and physically took myself to different places so that I could engage in positive things and not dwell on that specific thing that morning or this morning. So one of the messages, I guess, that I have here for you today is that be aware of those things that are going to be coming in your life, that you could get caught up and tripped up in that fashion where you relive a moment that you felt just like I did, and you don't want to stay in that moment. So if you recognize it, then you can start thinking of ways to remedy that thing and to put other things in the place of what you would normally do. So I am kind of I'm grateful that I was able to do that in that sense, and not do the things that I was used to in going and doing other drugs and those sort of things, and so, but I understand and recognize that it's easy to stay in those in those dark places, and I understand the pitfalls. So um, I'm here to just spread the word to let you know that that's something that I'm dealing with in my recovery, and if you know maybe this helps somebody else, that whenever those things do happen to you, and whenever things that you're doing in your life trigger a memory and a feeling of your addiction, of that dark place, of that despair, of that depressionness, of that isolation, and that you know what to do, and you recognize it, and you know how not to get yourself stuck in the mud there, and you're able to get out. So I was grateful that I was able to recognize it, and I was grateful that I was able to turn my phone on to a podcast that I can listen to right away, and hear some encouraging words, or you can call somebody, you can pick up a book and start reading, so that it allows your mind to transgress into something else, and for the positive, and you're not stuck in that negativity. So another thing is if you're engaging in something like I did this morning, I did talk to the lady in the sense that before I got off the bus, I was like, well, you have a good day, God bless you, I hope your day is very, the rest of your day is good, and so that I feel good, and I leave that situation on a positive note, and not versus leaving that situation with maybe saying something ugly to her, or thinking just sadness or depression, or wanting to use, but yeah, just if you find yourself struggling, because I think this happens, it's gonna happen on the daily, in different scenarios, and so you have to be aware. So it's like the more you're aware, the more you engage in your recovery, in a sense that you intertwine recovery program, recovery rituals, recovery, anything that has to do with helping you in your addiction, like 12-step programs, NA, all of those type of programs, and also dealing with your spiritual, background. In my personal experience, dealing with my higher power on the daily basis, and talking and praying to my higher power for and through anything that I do, is key for me, because I intertwine both, and because I keep both at the surface of my recovery, and engage it in my daily life, it allows me to deal with situations like that in the positive, and things just they're easier to deal with, I believe, and through my experience they're easier to deal with, and through my experience, when you engage both of those things in your life seems to become a little bit easier than it was when you were in full-blown addiction. So just be aware, and keep your recovery first and foremost in your life. Everything that you do, make sure that you do it with recovery in mind. Everything that I do, whether it's going to go pay the bills, whether it's going to the movies, whether it's going and engaging with friends, or anything that I do, and everything that I do in my life now is is surrounded, and I plan it through my recovery and my higher power, because I can't live my life without doing that. Because if I allow myself to live and do my daily routines with how Joel wants to do them, then ultimately they fail. And that's every single time. So, they might be good for a while. They may be good for, a couple of weeks, a couple of months, even some years. But eventually, Joel's way isn't very good. So, all I know is that whenever I intertwined recovery program and recovery lifestyle, recovery community with higher power community, and when those two things meet, it's a whirlwind of beautiful things that surround your whole life and your mind. So I do know that for a fact. So like I said, I just wanted to get on today's podcast and kind of throw that out there, and hopefully this resonates with someone. And if nobody hasn't told you today that they love you or that they care, well, hey, you know what? I care and I love you. So I just hope that your days and in recovery, early and in the future, I hope they're great for you. And if you ever need any help, you need somebody to talk to, give me a call, shoot me an email, shoot me a text, and I will either, if I can't help you myself, I know programs and folks that I can navigate you towards, that you can get on the road to recovery and stay there. So again, send me a message, send me a text, hit the like button, por favor. That means please. And again, my number is 210-278-2619, 210-278-2619. My email is joelscorpflow@gmail.com. That's JOELSCORPFLO@gmail.com. And until the next time, for when the smoke clears, peace.